With Rebirth being the most popular game mode to play on Warzone right now, we're going to be going over what are the 5 best loadouts to be using on Rebirth after the Season 3 update. If you do enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k subscribers. Click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. So I do want to mention a couple of different things. These loadouts are made specifically for Rebirth first of all, so the attachments will change slightly depending on the weapon. On top of that, you can still use the caldera based loadouts, even though the HP is slightly different. Because the HP is higher on caldera, the damage per mag and kind of TTKs overall work out better when you check out that video and transition it down to Rebirth. But there is some adjustments to loadouts you can make on Rebirth, and we're going to get straight into it. At number 5, we have a Milano class that I just think is absolutely amazing on Rebirth at the moment. Because the TTK is a bit lower, the Milano has a faster TTK than probably what you've seen in our previous videos, and that's because that's based around 300 HP, whereas Rebirth only has 250 HP. Now, I do still think they should just make it standard 300 HP across the board, but for now, you do get a faster TTK on Rebirth, and that is why I do think the Milano's solid. Plus, it's got good recoil control and good movement. Now, the RPG at the moment is actually a solid secondary option still. Now, if you're not a huge fan of RPGs, then you can, of course, go for like an AMP build if you really want to, which we've got in our previous Caldera loadouts video, or you can go for a Diamati build as well. Or you can even go for something like a machine pistol. There's a couple of different options. A Clouser's pretty good as well when it comes to secondary weapons. But in my opinion, the RPG is solid because not everyone is running EOD at the moment, because Quick Fix is a very good first perk slot. Now, when it comes to the Milano, it's kind of like the overall long-range Milano build, so we can use it for pretty much every distance. So we're using the Agency Suppressor for the range and control, the Ranger Barrel so we don't get too much recoil cons, but we still get that bullet velocity benefit. The Microflex LED, because I do think this is probably the best optic on Rebirth, because you don't really need the Axial 3X because it's just way too long, and most of your engagement ranges on Rebirth are pretty close range anyway. 55 round mags and the bruiser grip for better movement. Overall, this is probably one of the most well-rounded weapons you can use on Rebirth at the moment, and that is why I did pair it with the RPG. At number 4, we have probably the only sniper I can recommend in Warzone at the moment, which is the speed build for the ZRG. Now, the ZRG overall is a solid sniper rifle. It's got a one-hit headshot potential. It's got a good ADS time. It's very aggressive if you build it with this build right here. So you've got the sound moderator, not the rap suppressor, because this will give you a faster ADS time. You've got the combat recon barrel for the best bullet velocity. You've got the 5mm laser for a better ADS time and aiming stability. Royal and Cross 4x optic, which will give you a slightly quicker ADS time than the standard base optic and better peripheral vision. If you checked out our previous video, we've already mentioned all this stuff before, but it's probably going to be the best sniper on Rebirth anyway. Carnite 8K and probably the Pellington can actually be a solid option too, and that is because most of your engagement ranges might be below 50 meters, but if you are sniping anyone past 50 meters, then you do need to use the ZRG is the only option here. And then the airborne elastic wrap for better flinch and ADS times. Like I said, this is the best sniper in the game right now, but we're pairing this with the MP40. Now, this MP40 build with a short barrel only has 1 damage drop-off point, which makes this a very good sniper support weapon. Overall, the recoil is very low in the MP40, we already know that by now, and even though they did nerf this gun a little, it's still got a super fast TTK for an SMG. It's got low recoil, so you can use it at those longer distances, similar to the Milano. But overall, it's just a well-rounded gun because you get better movement speeds as well. So we're using the recoil booster for a faster TTK, the short barrel because it also gives you a faster TTK as well, the hand stop under barrel, the Grenko 45 round mags, which is still the best mags for this weapon, lengthened, fabric grip, or you can go for polymer if you need the extra recoil control, but I do think the fabric is the better option here. Perfectionist, or you can go for steady for better movement speeds. Again, you've got a couple of different options here. I think Perfectionist will help a little bit for those longer engagement ranges. Quick as perk 2 for better movement speed, remove stock for better movement speed, and the slate reflector so we can use it in those medium range engagements. At number 3, we have another really solid Cold War based loadout, and we've got the XM4, which is still pretty much a meta AR in the game right now, and we've got the Lapsa SMG, which is slightly different built to our previous videos. So when it comes to the XM4, there's a couple of different changes you can make to this. So first of all, what we changed from the standard meta build is we swapped out the 3x for the microflex, and that's just because it allows you to handle medium range a little bit better, because most of your gunfights will be at medium range. You don't really need a 3x optic in my opinion, but if you do want to use it, you can. But I just think the microflex is probably a better option. 45 round mags, because you don't really need the huge mags either. You do get less health and faster TTKs on Rebirth, so 45 rounds is more than enough to at least down one opponent at those longer ranges. Field Agent Grip, Task Force Barrel, Agency Suppressor. If you want to make this gun even snappier, you could remove the Field Agent Grip, put on a Serpent Wrap, or you can remove the suppressor and put on the standard suppressor, so that would make this gun even quicker, and it still has a very solid build to use because this gun is like super low recoil anyway, so you don't really need to have all these recoil controlling attachments on there because gun doesn't have a ton of recoil to begin with. But overall, very solid gun. We're pairing it with the Lapsa, and the only change we've made to the Lapsa since the Caldera video is basically we're using the BR compact barrel instead of the rifled barrel. Now the rifled barrel for Caldera is the best, but the BR compact on Rebirth is the best, so make sure you get them the right way around. But in this case, the BR compact with the sound suppressor, bruiser grip, microflex LED, which is a must because the irons on this gun are trash. And then the 50 or the 40 round mags will work on Rebirth, so 40 round mags will give you a slightly better ADS time, so you can go either which way with that one. But overall, the Lapsa is a very solid gun. You could also put the OTS9 in this place as well. At number 2, we have a very easy loadout to use, and that is the Vargo 52 with the well gun. Now with the well gun build, we did make some slight adjustments here. So we're using the recoil booster for the best TTK, Gwine short barrel, which I do think is the best barrel for this gun right now because it's going to give you an even faster TTK. We're using the hand stop under barrel once again for the recoil control, and then we're using the 40 round mags. Now usually I would recommend the 64 round mags, and this is the one that gives you the fastest possible TTK. It still gives you the fastest TTK on Rebirth, however the 40 round mags are actually good enough on Rebirth because you only get 250 HP, so it will still work really well. Plus you get better control with this one, so some people will like the 40 round mags plus 40 rounds as a nerf on Rebirth too. Lengthened is pretty much always the main option, or you can go for subsonic as well. Fabric grip for better movement, fleet for better movement, but gung ho will help if you like to hip fire quite a lot because you don't get any sprint to fire con. Then you could use quick for better movement speeds, remove stock for better movement speeds once again, and slight reflector, so we can use this gun in those mid-range engagements. Now we are pairing this with the Vargo 52 assault rifle, which is a super low recoil assault rifle, which is very easy to use on any game mode. And considering the health is a lot lower, or 50 HP lower on Rebirth than Caldera, you can actually build this gun in a couple of different ways and it won't really affect the weapon's performance too much. So first of all, you can build it the standard build here, which is the GRU, Task Force, Axial 3 times, 60 rounds, and Spetsnaz grip. But because this gun is super low recoil, I would remove the Spetsnaz grip, the GRU suppressor, put on the standard suppressor for a better ADS time. I would then remove the mags, put on a 45 round mag because the damage per mag on Rebirth is actually pretty good even with 45 rounds. I could put on a Serpent Wrap and actually put on the Microflex LED, and with this build we actually have ourselves a very solid sniper support weapon. So if you do want to pair it with a sniper, you can do that too. If you just wanted a well-rounded weapon in general to pair with maybe like an AMP or a Daimati and take Ghost, again you can build it that way too. But if you're pairing it with the well gun, I would probably recommend the standard build that we usually have, which is the one with the 45 round mags, and we can go for the underbarrel right here. I do like the Microflex LED on Rebirth. Last but not least, at number 1 we do have the C58 with the Owen gun once again, and that's just because I do think these are the two best weapons in the game right now. The builds have changed slightly from the Caldera video, but not too much. So let's start off with the C58. So the C58's got the same usual build as we're used to. The only thing I've switched out is the 45 round mags instead of the 55, which is what I'd recommend on Caldera. You do need the extra damage per mag, you need the bigger magazine capacity, but on Rebirth 45 is pretty much more than enough, to be honest. And then again, I do like the Microflex LEDs out of the Axial 3 times. I just feel like those medium range engagements are better off with the Microflex, and I do like to build my C58 with this overall. But like I said, you could use the standard long range build as well. Both work perfectly fine. Then we are pairing it with the Owen gun, which again, the build really hasn't changed much from our previous video. So we're still using the recoil booster, still using the rapid barrel, still the slate reflector, still the remove stock, still fleet. You can obviously choose brace if you really want to, or acrobatic. We're still using quick. We're still using the fabric grip. You can choose the polymer as well. But in this case, we're actually using the Grenko mags. Now, even though this got nerfed, and I do still think the 9mm is overall the best, and it is the best for TTK overall, but considering that, again, we've only got 250 HP, and you're going to get a better control with this mag, you actually probably could still get away with the Grenko mags on Rebirth anyway. So if you do like the better control, then try out the Grenko mags. They're still pretty solid on Rebirth. So there we have it. Those are the 5 best loadouts to use in Rebirth at the moment. Let me know what you think about these loadouts down in the comments below. Also, if you've checked out any of our previous loadout videos, I'll leave them all linked at the end of this one. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so try to reach our goal of 50k subscribers. And thank you very much for watching.